Hi, welcome back to the Holistic Health and Hormones podcast, where we explore the powerful connection between natural healing, hormone balance, and overall well-being. Today we have an incredibly inspiring episode that speaks to the heart of resilience, love, and the power of holistic healing on the journey to parenthood. For years, Edwin and Sylvia faced the emotional and physical challenges of infertility, navigating disappointment, frustration, and moments of hopelessness. But today, they join us with a story of triumph. They are now expecting their long-awaited baby. Their journey wasn't always easy, but through unwavering commitment, deep personal growth, and a holistic approach to healing, they made it to this beautiful moment. In this episode, we'll hear both perspectives, the woman who carried this struggle physically and emotionally, and her partner who stood beside her, experiencing his own challenges and growth. We'll deep dive into the heartbreak, the breakthroughs, and the wisdom they gained along the way. But most importantly, we'll explore what they wish they had known sooner and what advice they have for couples still in the trenches of infertility. If you've ever felt alone on this journey, or if you've ever wondered if hope still exists, this episode is for you. Let's jump in. Hello and welcome to the Holistic Health and Hormones podcast. I'm super excited to have Sylvia, dear client of mine, who's been on this infertility journey for a while, and I wanted to share her story with you. So welcome, Sylvia. How are you?
Good, thank you. How are you, Ellie?
Good. So really what I wanted was to just share with our listeners, just sort of reflecting on your journey. Congratulations, you are a mother now. Your baby is coming very soon, less than
Yep.
a month.
Yep, it is. Time's
But
flown.
yes, it has, but it wasn't always an easy journey,
No.
correct?
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
So do you want to just give a little bit of a background into your journey, sort of, how long you've been on this journey for, and, what were your struggles along the way at the beginning, and then we can talk a little bit more, about that.
Yeah. So we started trying probably around maybe 4 years ago. It was around the time COVID, people stopped traveling, so we all started focusing on, starting a family. So that's what people around us were trying to do. And then, we also thought the same. So that's when we first started really trying. We didn't think much of it at first, but then as time passed by, people who had started trying started to fall pregnant. And then we were like, oh, we're still trying. Yeah, we gave ourselves a bit more time, probably like another year or so, until we actually took ourselves to the doctors and said, look, we're trying for a baby now. What do we need to do? And they
How
just said,
long
oh,
was that? What was that time frame?
that was, when did we go? I think in 2022, probably like about a year after we started trying. Then we went to the doctors. Yeah, and we're just like, oh, hey, look, like we're trying to conceive at the moment. Like, what do we need to do? And they just, did the standard blood test to check that your levels were okay. For me, they did the AMH, and that was okay. For Edwin, they did like the sperm test, and that came out fine. So they were like, oh, just keep trying for another year. You're still young. Give it another year. If nothing, then come back to us, and then we'll probably need to refer you to a fertility specialist. So that's what we did. We gave ourselves another year, still didn't get any success. And then we were like, okay, well, we probably need some extra help. But at the time when they were mentioning the fertility specialist, they were like, okay, if after a year there's no success, you probably have to then go to IVF. So that's a very common suggestion that they give.
I would have
But
given that sooner. I would have thought, at your GP visit, they told you try for another year. How old were
yeah,
you, just with the listeners, how old were you then?
2022, we were like 33, 34 around then.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
you weren't like super young. So for them to say you can
no,
try for another year, it's
yeah.
actually, it might have been a fairly okay GP. Most of them would be like, quick, go out, get to IVF now.
Yeah. Oh, I think we expressed that we wanted to, give ourselves some time. So they didn't suggest push us sort of straight away until we went back to them, and they were like, you should start considering it. But for us, we didn't want to jump straight into IVF because we felt like we wanted to know what was wrong with us. Like there must have been something that was stopping us from getting pregnant. And, well, they say that IVF can bypass a lot of things.
Not really. So IVF only helps you with that conception process. They take
Yeah,
the egg, they take the sperm, and they do it outside of the body and put it back in. It doesn't change anything else. It's
yes,
basically a tool for conception itself. So if it
yeah,
doesn't happen naturally,
yeah,
right, IVF may help with certain aspects like blocked fallopian tubes or
yeah,
a structural issue. However, if there's underlying other issues, you
yeah.
have to sort of address it. Correct.
Yeah. So I think what we were trying to like understand is what were the underlying issues with us, because like we didn't just want, like, we wanted to heal our bodies, not just for pregnancy, but for, like, for our lifetime as well.
General health.
Yeah, for
Yes.
general health. So that was important to us. So that's why we didn't go ahead to get a fertility specialist referral. Instead, we went to look for like other alternatives. Yeah. So then we looked into um, getting acupuncture and trying out traditional Chinese medicine. We only ever tried like one other lady, but she was too far, and then we ended up finding you.
Mm.
Yeah,
And
if
how
you
did you hear about acupuncture and Chinese medicine? As you were looking, obviously 2 years in, was it things that people had suggested? So how do people sort of come across finding alternatives? Was it just something you'd read or heard about? How did you first discover acupuncture and Chinese medicine in that?
So like our friends at that time, it didn't seem like anyone needed any help. Like they just felt pregnant naturally. So we really didn't know anyone around us that had tried acupuncture until we met a new friend of ours, and she had been, well, the couple had been trying for a while, and they've tried like, different alternatives too, like acupuncture and traditional Chinese medicine, like taking the herbs. So she mentioned that to us, and then we were like, okay, maybe we should just give that a try, like the other side of medicine. Yeah, so that's why that we started trying to find like someone close to us. We found one, but she was a bit too far, and I really wanted someone who was close to us locally so we wouldn't have to stress ourselves
Mm,
traveling to our
yeah.
appointments and all that, because then that would defeat all the purpose. So then we found you.
So
Yeah.
can you take us back to the moment you first realized that conceiving wasn't going to be easy as
Mhm.
you'd hoped? What emotions came up? So obviously a couple of years in, or the moment, it's been a year, you're like, what's happening? This shouldn't be taking this long.
Yeah.
What was that moment when you first realized that, oh my gosh, it's actually not as easy as people say it is? And then what was your first emotions and reactions?
Well, initially it was just like, oh yeah, 1 month went by. Oh, okay, well, next month will happen. And then another month went by. And then by the time you realize that it's like a year. And then in that time frame, like other people also fell pregnant. So I was like wondering, like, what was wrong with me? Why couldn't I fall pregnant? Also, during that time as well, we were going through a lot in our personal life. So during that time for me, my dad was really sick and he had eventually passed away. So when he did pass away, I felt a lot of guilt in that. I felt like he missed out on meeting my children, and, something was wrong with me. Like I couldn't fall pregnant, so I wasn't able to, have a baby there for him to meet.
Like give him a
So
grandchild. Yeah.
yes, yes, in that sense. Even though, like, that's something that you can't control. But at that time, because I was going through all the disappointment, and we weren't getting our, positive and all that stuff, that just sort of added that extra element of like a negative emotion to me.
And what would that
Yeah.
emotion? What are some of those emotions? What would you describe the emotion as being, or emotions?
I just
What were you
felt so
feeling at that time?
very disappointed,
Yeah.
guilt because I couldn't
Mm,
give my dad
mm,
like a grandchild, even though he already had like other grandchildren, but still
mm.
like from me, if you know
Yes.
what I mean. Yeah, it was different. And yeah, just like I was in a very, probably I didn't realize it then, but I was in a very like depressed state
Yeah.
at that time.
So, how did your struggles with infertility at the time and also your father being sick impact your sense of self? I guess relationship with yourself, relationship with your husband, and your daily life in general.
Yeah. My husband, he was always there. Like I was able to talk to him about my feelings. So that was really good. Like we always had each other's back, but he himself was going through his own things. So we were trying to, support each other and try and lift each other up, but we were also each other personally dealing with our own things too. So that was a little hard. And it wasn't something that I spoke with a lot to other people as well, like my friends, because they were all like going on their own path. So I felt a disconnect, like I couldn't, like they wouldn't understand sort of thing. Yeah. Yeah, so I guess I felt a bit isolated at that time. Yeah, even though I had my husband, but yeah.
Is not a girlfriend, and it's different.
Yeah.
Like, girls talk differently to other girls, but was there any close girlfriends per se that was going through what you thought was infertility on their hand? It's hard to know unless people openly talk about it, but was there any other friends that you knew of who was going through the same journey?
Not that I knew at the time,
Okay.
because the only other friend that I know about now, like she was also going through her own things, which we didn't know about until later on. Yeah. So we just all thought, everyone's going about their own way, and we were, just trailing behind, trying to catch up.
So
Yeah.
were there any moments, I guess, in those few years that you felt like giving up? Like, what kept you going through those ups and downs?
Um,
Giving up on the journey or giving up on, hope and things like that?
yeah. I never thought about giving up. Like
Hmm.
it was hard. I just felt like I needed to get help. I needed to, like, there was obviously something that was not wrong, but health is not just about your physical well-being. It's also your emotional
And
well-being
mental.
as well, and mental well-being, and also seeing what my husband was going through at the time. Like, I know especially how important the mental well-being is. So that's why I never thought about giving up, but I just wanted to seek help.
And you're still
And
fairly young. I mean, you're not at the age where some clients or, people that are on the journey are in their 40s, late 40s even, right? That they're more pressed for time, right? Being in your early to mid 30s, there's still hope of being a mother, obviously. So, how did you navigate that emotional roller coaster for yourself in those few years, right? Of hope, of disappointment, month after month. Like, month after month when you're trying, what did you do as soon as your periods came each month? Like, what was your sort of routine or no routine? What were your thoughts?
yeah. Well, there were many times where I cried thinking about it. It was especially hard during, like, the week of the period when you get it. And then I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
that is especially the first few days, because you're in pain, you're not comfortable, but, and you think, all this for what? Like, that kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
like,
Mm-hmm.
getting anything at the end of it. Yeah. So, but then it was always after that period week ended, and then you just kind of, it goes to the back of your mind. And
Yep.
then,
You're like another month,
and then
right? So
another
there's hope.
cycle, and then it just keeps going and going. It's just all the
As
hormones
soon as your
playing
period's
up.
finished, you're like, okay, I've got hope again. I've got 3 weeks to hope.
Yeah,
And then
yeah,
the disappointment for maybe a week, and then the hope comes back.
yeah, yeah. That's right. So yeah, I just went with the flow of it, I guess, all those years until we actually decided to uh, start acupuncture with you. And then not only did you show us the acupuncture and traditional Chinese medicine, but then you also showed us this other whole aspect of well-being, which is spiritual, emotional, and mental well-being.
Yeah.
And then
And
you
that's what
mentioned,
most people don't
yes,
focus on.
correct, like no other doctor is going to tell you to focus on that unless you see someone who, um, you know, like a naturopath or someone with a more holistic approach.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So, what were your most, and we'll talk about sort of the mental, emotional well-being, but what was your most frustrating experience, I guess, when you encountered on this journey? What frustrated you the most?
Not knowing what was wrong with me. Yeah, like, I was getting my period every month, so something's right, but
Something's working
something's
like clockwork.
something's working, but also something might not be working too. But what is that? Like, I don't know. Yeah, that
Yeah.
was frustrating.
Yeah.
Yeah, because seemingly on the outside, everything looked okay.
Hmm.
Everything was fine. So that's why I just sort of had a feeling maybe it was something deeper than that.
Unexplained issues, right? They just
Yes.
lump it in
Yeah.
and go, everything's fine, blood work's fine, your periods
Yeah.
are every month, like unexplained. We don't know. Go and
Yeah.
just keep trying, which is so frustrating, right? Because there is,
Exactly.
and we found the root cause of what was going on, but it is frustrating for many
Yeah.
people in experiencing the journey, right? So
Yeah.
looking back, do you feel like infertility changed you as a person during those few years? And in what ways would you say it's changed the way you looked at things?
Yeah. I think for me, the biggest thing is it I've reframed my mindset around a lot of things. How I look at things nowadays, I try to think more positively, and I see everything with like gratitude as well. Whereas before, if I get knocked down, I'll be like, oh, I just spend time sulking in sadness or whatever. But now I'm just trying to be more positive.
Yeah, and it's 80%, like Eve, I keep saying it again, it's just 80% is mindset, right?
Yeah,
And 20% is everything else because
correct.
how we think, our thoughts, our emotions drives the hormones, it drives everything else. On a physical level, it starts
Yeah,
off with a mental, emotional
yeah,
balancing first. If we can't get the
yes.
mental and emotional, aspects right, the
Hmm.
physical is just not going to fall into place.
And for me, meditation, all that, that's not something that I did. Like,
Did you
that was
start or did
all
you never
really
looked at
new
it?
to me. Never looked into it. And even now, like when I do it, it's like it's not something that I can get into straight away. But for me, what came out of it was how to deal with my mindset. That was,
Yes.
yeah, that was really important to me. That was a very important aspect that I took
And it's for
out of it all.
everyone on this journey, especially
Yeah.
after being on the journey for, I would say, longer than a year or more. Your mindset, your emotions, it starts
Yes.
going like, you start off being positive and then it kind of like, and then when you
Yeah.
don't see any results after a while, it kind of stays at the bottom for
Yeah.
many, right? Unless you know how to bring yourself back up, or it's up
Yes.
and down. Like I said, it's that 3 weeks of hope, 1 week of,
Yeah.
frustration, and then hope, frustration. So you're doing these little dips
Yes.
all the time.
That's right.
So, what did the role of your husband, family play in your journey? Because I know your husband is super supportive. We're going to talk to him in a minute. What role did he play in your support? Any sort of other family? You've got siblings, so did they support you and give you strength along your journey?
Yeah. So I did like, open up to my family and tell them that what we were going through, because we were also like, they weren't giving us pressure or anything, but sometimes like, particular family members will have like a comment here and there, and we'll be like, just
Like they do, especially
yeah, like
Asians.
they do, yeah. But so we opened up with them and just said like, look, we are trying and we're trying out like, acupuncture and working on the more like holistic side of the thing.
Holistic
So
healing, yeah.
yeah, holistic healing, and that was also interesting for them to understand as well. But they were really supportive, like they were always there to listen whenever we needed to, whenever we talked about it, whenever we caught up, they always asked us like how we're doing and all that.
Mm.
Yeah, and checking in on us,
Hmm.
my siblings especially. And whereas for my husband, usually when you think infertility, like you just think of the female. But I'm really, really fortunate, like throughout our whole journey, he was there with me from beginning to end. Like
Hmm.
both of us were in it together.
You were,
Yeah.
yeah, it makes such a difference. So, was there a specific moment, realization, when that really gave you that hope that you needed at that time the most and made a big impact?
You mean through the whole journey?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was there any
So
specific moments, realizations, or a specific person that you're like, okay, this is the hope that I need I'm going to come out on top?
yeah, I think for us, it was just like because we were going together, I mean, going through it together, it made our bond even stronger.
And that's a
And
great thing because for many,
yes,
yep,
it
it can
is.
be the opposite.
Yeah. So even through after finding you, like we were both going through it together. We were both receiving treatment and both, healing our individual things. So I think that as well helped us like in our personal life. Like, when we were either feeling down or whatever, we'll pick ourselves up and be like, like after I saw you, it was still months had passed and I wasn't, getting pregnant still. But then Edwin would remind me, like, look, Ellie's helping us, we're doing all these things to heal ourselves. And she's healing ourselves from the inside. And then what's
Mm.
left is just to check for the physical blockages. And then, once we find that out, then we will um, tackle whatever we need to do, and then we'll try again. Like there's hope, you know. So he just helped constantly put me in check to make sure that I was, thinking positively, like
Yeah.
being optimistic, and likewise for him as well. Like we will encourage each other. So actually, leading up to, oh, so it was last year that we found out we were pregnant. So from the beginning of when the new year came around in 2024, we were like to ourselves, okay, we have to protect our peace. This year is all about, being happy doing what makes us happy. So once we're truly happy, then, our spirit baby will come to us.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Your
we were
divine
focused.
gift from God, yes.
That's right. Yeah. So we really, really focused on that, just doing what makes us happy, just living our life
Mm-hmm.
happily. And on the few months before we found out we were pregnant, we were actually really, really grateful. Like we just felt a sense of gratitude overcome us.
What are you grateful for?
I don't know, just like
Life?
grateful, yeah, for life, for having each other.
Yes. Love.
Yeah, that's right. And for finding you who was helping us as well and just leading us in the right direction.
So I guess the secret question is, can you describe the moment you found out you were pregnant? What was your immediate reaction? I mean, I know you sort of, you actually called me before
Yeah, I
you
did.
spoke to your husband. It was hilarious.
I was
The
like,
moment
okay,
you saw those two lines, because
yeah,
prior to that, never once had any inkling,
never.
like you haven't had any miscarriages or anything in the
No,
past,
no.
never even a double line. So describe that moment when you're like, okay, my period's what, a couple of days late, right?
It
Maybe
was
just
only
on
like
time,
one or
one
two
day late.
days late, but it was always like, pretty on time every month. So I'm like, oh, okay, it's just 1 or 2 days late. But I was already sort of like, preparing myself to accept that
Here's another month.
it's another month for me. Because the following month, I was actually booked in to see a gynecologist to check for blocked tubes. Yeah. So I was like, okay, like, no pressure on myself. It's just another month. Like we're gonna deal with whatever we need to deal with next month and move forward and all this stuff. So, but then I just felt like something was off. Like I don't know. Something just made me, because I hadn't been using any tests for months. I just didn't
Months and years, probably
want
years,
to.
right? A little while.
A little while already. Like I had all these tests, but I just stopped like testing. So I just, this time for some reason I was like, you know what, just take one. If it is, it is. If it's not, then it's fine. We've got the next month. So I did. And then I literally, like, my eyes were like, they just bulged out of their
Is it
socket when
like, am
I
I am
saw
I
the
seeing
line.
double? Is it meant to be there? I
Yeah,
wonder.
that's right. And I was like, what? Like I knew that we were, wishing and manifesting for this baby to come, but to actually see evidence that there was like two lines there, that was, yeah, so surreal.
Yeah. So you felt surreal, and then what was your immediate reaction? Relief.
Literally, I was like, oh my God,
What, is this true? Is this what people
are you
see?
serious? Yeah. And I think I told you at the time, like it was like the cheapy strip from eBay as well. So I was
The
like, is this even
eBay.
reliable?
I'm gonna go get the expensive stuff to see if this is
Yeah.
like out of date.
That's right. Look, whatever I had that was like, the more reliable ones, they were already out of date. So I was like, okay, let me quickly pop to the shops and get it. I was actually working from home that day too, and Edwin happened to be busy, so he couldn't, be like, oh, where are you going?
Yeah.
So I had some time. Anyway, went to the shops, got the test, did the test,
Like,
and
this
I
is
was
the
like,
expensive one now.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
It's gonna
that's
show me
right.
yes or no.
Yeah. So then I did it and it gave me the exact same answer. And I was like, okay, like, I have to tell my sister and I have to tell Ellie first.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I remember, I think did I send you a message or did I call you? I can't remember, but yeah.
Yeah, sent me yeah, I think you called me. I missed the
Yes.
call, and then you're like, check
Yeah.
your phone, check your
Yeah.
phone. And then there I see a
Yeah.
picture of your beautiful confirmation, I guess.
Yes.
So I guess, how did your past struggles shape the way that you experience joy now? So I guess with the struggles and now, expecting your baby in less than a month, how did those struggles now shape the way you experience joy, gratitude, love?
Just in general, I think I'm just being like a lot more positive now. Yeah. And just being grateful for a lot of things.
There's a
Like
lot to
just,
look forward to now.
yeah, 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 that's right. Yeah. But not just the baby, but just genuinely enjoying our life
Yeah.
and being
Well,
happy
you've
now.
got to enjoy it now, because once the
Yeah.
babies come, there's no peace anymore. Crying all the
That's
time for the
right.
first several months. A
Yeah.
lot of crying, a
Yeah.
lot of noise.
Yes.
So
And
yeah,
I
it
think
definitely.
it just showed us that, like, we just have to persevere and try our best with whatever it is that we're struggling.
Yeah, it's not just fertility, it's like any sort of health, anything, right?
Yes.
So we have to
Yes.
not give up, have hope.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
So I guess the last piece of advice, what advice would you give to someone or couple currently struggling with infertility and feeling hopeless?
I think mindset and emotional well-being is
Yeah.
really important, and that's an aspect that not a lot of people think about. when they think about infertility.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
like,
true.
yeah, they think about, physically what's happening with them, but they dismiss the fact that, it's the mindset too, especially when you're going through treatments and all that stuff. I can imagine how much of a toll that would take. So I think it's especially important with that
Mm.
when someone's going through that as well to also focus on their mindset and emotional
And
well-being.
to seek the right help if
Yeah,
you're struggling, right? Because,
yeah,
like I said, there's either fear or faith, right? And it's really hard when we sort of spiral down into the fear, the frustration, the helplessness, right? It's like, how can we bring us back to hope again? And it's like that for you that first couple of days, and then you immediately tell yourself, no, there's another month.
yeah,
Right? It's like don't stay in that feeling
correct.
of helplessness for too
Yeah,
long because it doesn't serve your
yes,
body. It doesn't help you
no,
in any way.
yeah.
So if you could go back, I guess, and speak to yourself at the beginning of this, of this journey right at the start, what would you say to yourself now, knowing what you've gone through?
I would tell myself that, look, it won't be an easy journey, but just remember that whatever changes and improvements that you make now is not just for this current time of falling pregnant. It's also to lead you and your future children and your family to live a happy and healthy life, like for years to come. That is really important to us. And that's like going back to the beginning, why we didn't want to jump straight to IVF is because we wanted to heal ourselves if there was
Yeah, so
anything wrong with ourselves.
it's so important to
Yeah,
find out the root cause, which is what I'm
correct.
teaching is that if we know what the
Yes,
root cause is, right, then if we need to go through IVF, we're going to have a
yeah,
more optimized chance, right? We're
correct.
going to increase our chances of falling pregnant at IVF, right, as opposed to going through multiple rounds and not finding the root cause.
That's
Or,
right.
if we don't need to, we have time. Like I say, early 30s is not really late. And I think there is definitely a good 6 to 12 months that people can spend on healing
Yeah,
themselves,
yeah,
spiritually, emotionally, mentally, and lastly, physically, right? I think there's definitely things that we can do within our control. I teach this to all of the clients that yes, it is looking at, yes, we can start with a bit of diet lifestyle, but then let's look at everything else, right? We
yes,
forget that we've got 4 bodies, and that's physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. They all need to be in alignment for you to then have that perfect synergy of creating not just a baby, but a healthy, beautiful baby. They're all beautiful, but a healthy baby,
yes,
and also for
that's right.
generations to come. Well, thank you so much, Sylvia, for sharing your story, and
It's okay.
congratulations on being a
Thank you.
mother. It's going to be well deserved. You're going to probably go, "Oh, I wish I was single again," without all the noise. But no,
No,
it's
we'll be
great.
grateful for
It
this. Yes,
will. You're just
so
the
grateful.
crying and the
Yeah.
sleeplessness. It doesn't last long, but
Yeah,
enjoy parenthood. Enjoy the
thank you.
joys of being a mother. I mean, they teach you so much as well as, us teaching them. I think children teach us
Yeah,
a lot about ourselves for sure. And there's nothing better in the world than to be a mother and a well-deserving one.
yeah.
So thanks, Sylvia.
Thank you so much,
Amazing.
Ellie.
All right. Hi, welcome, Edwin, to the Holistic Health and Hormones podcast. How are you doing? We just had your wife on, so I'd love to have a chat with you.
Yeah, thanks, Ellie. It's great to be on here.
So I love you, I love you both as a couple. We've been working together for a little bit of time, but I wanted to sort of hear your perspective on the journey for fertility. We hear a lot about the woman's side, but it's very rare that we get to really understand what the man is going through because they're just as much a part of the equation of being a parent in this unit of a family than it is as a woman.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, so do you want to share sort of your journey, how you and Sylvia met, and then sort of what was the start of your fertility journey like for you?
Yeah, so me and Sylvia, we met in a Korean language class about 13 years ago
I know
now.
you're not even Korean,
We're
right?
not we're not Korean, but with the whole K-pop, K-drama, pop culture, and everyone's into Korean, and it's cool to know the Korean language. We don't have to be
You can
Korean. I
sing
mean,
Korean, you
we
can
just want to
sing
learn another language. So
pop,
yeah,
Korean pop,
yeah, exactly.
and watch Korean dramas.
Yeah, so we joined a beginners class separately. Obviously, didn't know her at the time, and there was many people in class that also joined that to just learn the basics of Korean as well. Yeah, so that's where I met Sylvia amongst the other people as well, and we started dating since then, and then got married about 5 years later in 2017. Built a nice little home, and we both also really had the same focus where we wanted to start a family in the future. So we married 27, 28, are still considered relatively young in this day and age.
Yeah.
So we wanted to spend like 2-3 years as a couple, travel around. We went to Japan, Korea, Taiwan, all those countries. We were both planning to say, hey, look, after 3 years, let's try start a family, and that's 2020. So when 2020 hits, we all know what happened in 2020.
Yes.
COVID happens,
Yes.
and I actually, I actually fell into depression myself as well at the time, which was pretty hard for myself. But
Had you experienced depression before that?
2020 was the first time I experienced depression, partly due to COVID, but many other factors that contribute to
Hmm.
that too. But that's not part of this podcast, so I'm not going to go into that.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I fell into depression, and it also affected our relationship and all that as well. And obviously, depression is bad for everything, including trying to have a kid, and that just screwed things in the timeline. At the same time, all our other friends, because of COVID, had more time to spend with themselves,
They're all falling pregnant.
all falling pregnant left, right, center, and like 3 of our really close friends actually got pregnant at the same time. 1 month after another, they told us the news. The first one was okay, but once they tell you like more and more, it kind of be like, okay, everyone's pregnant except for us. What do we do? And it also made me even more like down, and Sylvia as well was pretty hard at the time. But yeah, that's where we realized that we were falling behind.
So I guess when you first realized that conceiving wasn't going as planned or wasn't happening as quickly as you thought, right? It was more challenging than expected. How did that realization affect you?
Yeah, so when we realized that we had taken longer to try to have a child, he actually was in like kind of a negative spiral. So each month that goes by, it's like it gets harder and harder, and we just realized like maybe something is wrong with us, either one of us two. But knowing that I was going through depression, that also affected me, saying that I am the problem, because I think many men don't realize that they're the problem. They just, I mean, in
It's
general,
seen as a woman's issue, right? I mean,
in
infertility is
society,
seen
yeah,
a woman's issue,
in society,
right?
it will be viewed as a woman's issue. But I did get over the hump. COVID lockdown lifted and everything, so I did get better and went through my own journey to lift myself, make myself even more happy. So that's a lifetime experience, but it's pretty good then. But we still, after all that aside, we were still struggling for quite some time. I think like 2 to 3 years.
Mm.
Yeah. And
Did
then
you feel the pressure in that time to be the strong one? I guess the strong one in the relationship. And if so, how did you navigate that? Seen as a man is the strong one, right? Or feel the pressure on yourself to be strong for Sylvia.
Yeah, so at the times, I feel like, do you have to be the strong one? Do you have to kind of man up and kind of, even at one stage, lie to myself and say, look, things will get better, even though I might not believe it.
Tell yourself the lie enough, you'll believe it, right? It
Yeah,
will
yeah,
get better. That's the
exactly.
thing. It's a
I
trick,
had to,
right?
yeah, exactly. So I had to lie to myself, to lie to Sylvia. Otherwise, can see through my. So I have to pretend that things will get better, and then because anyways, I like to take like the more logical approach as well.
Because
So
you're a logical person,
I'm a logical
and it's
person.
like,
Yeah.
yes,
So I work in IT profession, so I work in cybersecurity. So there's always troubleshooting in my mind. So
yeah.
there's always got to be
I tackle the problem,
tackle the problem
logically, and
logically.
let's look at it as a project.
Exactly. Just take one step at a time as well. We did see like the GP, I said with GPs, and they were saying like, how long you been trying? At that stage, end of 2022, we were trying for like nearly 3 years. We were playing it down with the GPs. We were like, oh, we just only tried for like 6 to 12 months. And at that time, we were like 34, reaching the term advanced maternal age. They were
Yeah,
like,
geriatric
yes. So they were
for a
trying
woman.
to, yeah,
Anyway, not
exactly.
for a man.
Yeah, they were trying to rush us and be like, you tried over 6 months and you're about 35. So they were trying to push us to see specialists and all that to, go for the medical side, IVF and all that.
Mm,
But even after playing it down, saying we were trying for 6 to 12
6 months.
months, but we were actually like approaching 3 years. But it was actually good to get that side clear as well, because from medical perspective, they do the different type of tests, all the blood tests
Mm,
and AMH
hmm.
even,
Yeah,
which we didn't know about that time. AMH to test the
yeah,
hormones
the
for the
ovarian.
ovarian reserve for the women, and also from my side the semen analysis. But actually, that all came back, and it was very positive for both of us. And also, I think the doctor said that my semen analysis result was pretty good, that I can impregnate.
Go back to trying again.
Yeah, is that impregnate the whole village because it was that good. I think 56 million count or something. But after we saw Ellie, there are just more to semen analysis than just the count as well. There's the morphology or motility, how it looks, the
Yeah.
DNA
A lot of
segmentation.
parameters.
Yeah, lots of
Yeah.
parameters. So we were testing just the basic analysis for my side as well. So there's a lot more you can do as well to improve yourself.
Yeah. So how did you cope with the uncertainty and the roller coaster of the hope and disappointment? I know sort of, your wife and Sylvia, she had her own coping mechanisms. Like, how did you cope with the uncertainty and the roller coaster each month? I mean, did it become almost mechanical in a way? Obviously with years of trying, right? There's a fertile ovulation window. You lose the joy, you lose the spark, and a lot of what the intimacy is definitely very different by then. So, how did you sort of cope with that roller coaster of up and down when, it's another month, okay, she's not pregnant?
Yeah, so that was pretty hard to navigate as well, because I like to know things. So
Like, what's wrong? What's wrong
yeah,
already?
exactly. I was researching more into it than I think she did, and like
You want answers.
I want answers as well, so that I can provide to myself, and then I can provide to my wife as well. And but then when you test for the baby, it's not from me, it's from her. So I had to ask her, "Is your
Have you tested
period?
you're pregnant?
Yeah,
You tested this month?
have you tested that? It's a period. Is your period here? How long has it been past? I think it's been past 2 days. Have
And
you
you're
tested?"
great with numbers, right? You
Exactly.
remember dates better than she does, right? It's like, when
Exactly.
was your period? 27 days ago.
Yeah, so I was really on point on that one, and I was asking her. So, I know at one stage I had to like back off and not ask too much, because if I ask her, then she'll think about it, and it bring her down negatively as well. So I just have to let that go. If it happens, it happens. That was after like many months after trying to understand the female
Cycle.
schedule. Yeah.
And hormones, right? I mean, were there times where, she was really upset and you're like, I don't know what to say, I don't know what to do. You try to be supportive in your own way, but were there times that it was best to just leave her be?
Yeah, exactly. So most of the time you just don't want to ask too much, and then it'll affect
Because we
her.
have our hormones raging a lot of that time, right?
Exactly. So whatever you say, you're gonna get in trouble.
That's not to say much. How did you support your partner through those times while also managing your own emotions? Because you guys are so great at supporting each other. So how did you feel you were supporting her while also managing your own emotions through this?
So I was just teaching her to think about the long term, uh, on the bright side, managing negativity thinking, because I did go through the depression, and I know mindfulness is an important part
Mm.
of it all as well. Coming back to being logical as well, we did the this basic semen analysis and basic blood work for the female side for both of us. We're gonna take it to the next step. We gotta think, do we want to take the medical approach or the holistic approach?
So was that a joint conversation, or
So
decided we're going to do natural for a little while? Like,
exactly.
how was that
So
discussion?
that's the hard part. We find it hard to talk about the future of the journey together, because we're just going by month.
Yes.
But then what I had in mind was, yeah, let's go and find someone holistic and naturopath to help us get better with the physical side.
The preconception, or that
Exactly.
preparation.
Yeah, the preparation part of it, the mindful and the spiritual side as well. So when we found you, Ellie, you fit perfectly into that category. But at the time, it was hard to bring it up even to her, to just suggest, hey, look, we've been trying for 3 years now. Let's go see someone and get help, because bringing that up was already difficult in itself.
But they're not bringing it up. You're just kind of like brushing it and
Yeah,
going, we're hoping for the best.
if I don't bring it up, then we just go month by month, and it just month by
Nothing's
month,
changing.
nothing's changed. Yeah, if nothing's changed, nothing's gonna happen, right? So you gotta have to try to find some answers to some things. So I was actually looking to the Chinese medicine and acupuncture side as well. So we found someone else, but later on that didn't work out too well. So, but we found Ellie, yourself, and that fits perfectly because you didn't focus just on the Chinese medicine side. You brought us a bunch of other holistic side, including Western
Modalities. Yeah.
mentality, spiritual, and how to think. How to be positive, and it's not just like thinking about the baby all the time. Because if you think about trying to be positive and be happy about the baby, you're still thinking about the baby. And when you're thinking about the
Correct.
baby and you're not having the baby, that just goes in a
There's a
negative.
disconnect. There's like a
There's a disconnect. Yeah,
dissonance, right? There's a
exactly. Yeah,
disconnect. It's like the baby, but there's no baby, and
exactly. Like
it's so
you
hard.
gotta be happy without having the baby. That doesn't work out because you're not gonna be happy without seeing the baby. So you taught us to be happy holistically, just in general.
To be grateful moment by
Be
moment, right?
grateful, acceptance, and
Go along for the ride, whatever happens.
exactly. And all this other stuff we learned as well really helped with the mind.
Yeah, it's so important because most people, like I was even saying to Sylvia as well, it's just there's so much disconnect, and I guess it's harder for men because you're also experiencing these symptoms. You may not verbalize. I mean, some men are more communicative than others, but a majority of men are they keep to themselves. They say very few words. They're too scared to say anything to hurt their partner, so they don't say anything at all. Whereas having that support, but knowing what to say and how to say it it's a whole skill in itself.
Yes, sometimes you just say anything and then it'll just be wrong in a way. So,
it doesn't even meant to come out right. It's still going to be wrong, right?
Exactly.
You can say the nicest thing, and when you're in a bad mood, you'll just misconstrue whatever it is that you're saying.
Right. Yeah.
What helped you both stay connected throughout this whole journey and strong as a couple during the experience? I mean, you spoke about a few things, but what would you say was the main thing that helped you stay connected? Because again, like a 4 or 5 year journey is a very long stretch for most, right? And it's still hard. Like you both were so connected throughout the whole journey. Well, the journey that I saw you for towards the end, throughout your long sort of 5 years, how did you stay connected? Were there times where you weren't? Because I saw you both as being quite strong and quite connected throughout the whole thing, supportive anyway.
Yeah, so you asking for the most number one thing to stay connected, I would say understanding each other. But to understand each other, you need to communicate with each other. So ongoing communication and honesty feedback as well. Because sometimes there are stuff that are hard to bring up, but you just have to bring it up anyway. Because just like I was trying to suggest to her, let's go and try the next step, like seeing someone to get help. That was hard to bring up, but you gotta.
That was your initial idea. You were the one that suggested to seek holistic help.
I was thinking about that, but luckily at the time, I think it was Sylvia actually hinted at that. She actually spoke to her sister, and her sister said something about let's go see some acupuncturist, and I'll be like, oh yeah, perfect opportunity. I was actually thinking about that for a while. Maybe let's go and see someone.
Explore it together.
Yeah, so that was a perfect opportunity for me to bring it up. That I was thinking about it as well. Otherwise, it'll be hard to bring something up. It's like, oh, do you think there's something wrong with me? That's why I have to go see acupuncturist. I'm like, then you gotta be like, oh no, it's for both of us.
Or just suggesting anything really, whether it's a coach or any specialist.
It's hard. Like if you suggest anything that is like close to being something wrong, then they'll think you're just trying to say there's something wrong with them. But sometimes it's the men as well. I mean,
yes.
it takes two to make a baby, right? So
correct. Yes.
It can be both sides. It will help both sides to
be healthy. Yeah.
To be healthy as well.
Yeah, like I said, it's not a physical yes, but it comes down for me. I think the biggest thing is it's mental emotional shifts for clients and for people on this journey, right? With health and in general, right? In life, it's so much is blocked motions, like we suppress and we're not, thinking the right thoughts, and that affects our physical, right? Everything comes from the mind. So it's a bigger shift if we can work on those. Usually the physical will right itself. All right? Obviously you're not going to be eating junk, but if you can do all of those things in combination, you're definitely going to see more success and more shifts for sure.
Yeah. So, for both of us, before we saw you, Ellie, we were both pretty physical as well. Like I set up a home gym for myself at home. So
learned from COVID.
Yeah, learned from COVID, and then have the home gym, exercise there, and also go for walks in the park because we live in a nice area. Sylvia always attend those group classes as well every time after work. It's good for her socially as well to meet other people, but also physically. So physical side, I think we were pretty pretty good already, but it just doesn't take the physical side to be completely healthy as a whole. There's also the diet side, which I think we were also pretty good, but then, that's just also one aspect. You have the emotion side and the spiritual side and all that stuff as well that has to be aligned and cleared before you actually get complete health at the same time.
Yeah. So was there a specific moment when you felt like things were finally aligning for you both? Was there a specific moment in the last few months before pregnancy that you felt, okay, things are like aligning?
Yeah, so at that time, the last few months before things actually happened, I know that we've been seeing you for quite some time at the time. We were like, follow your advice as much as we can. And there was one thing that we just haven't gone to do, which is to check the specialist for the block tubes and all that, which you also advised us to do because we didn't know about that at the
People
time.
don't know what they don't know, right? You just assume, okay, I'm doing what I
Yes,
can.
exactly. And to Sylvia, I think she was pretty scared of that side because if you check blocked tubes, you might go hospital or surgery, and then there's this other side with the endometriosis, and you gotta be put to sleep while they check that. I think she's haven't done any of that stuff before,
Yeah.
so
Hadn't
it's
done any
pretty
investigative.
yeah. So I know you've been telling us leading up to that. You were saying we were like
Check all the physical
yeah,
structures.
exactly. You did advise us to check all the physical structure, and we were trying to like delay that side because
Yeah.
I think we were still nervous
Ready.
to go and check that. But then you assured us that we did everything we could holistically. Maybe just go check that side. We were pretty grateful, and we understand that that's what we needed to do. And we were connected in that journey where we were like, okay, let's get it booked. But to see a specialist for that, it takes 4 months. So we called up the specialist in March, so this time last year, and then they didn't have any slots until August. We tried like 3 different ones, and they were all the same. So we had the
Well, 4 months is a long time to wait when you're on this fertility journey.
exactly, yeah. So most of the time, gynecologists are actually obstetrician as well, so OB/GYN. So they actually give more priorities to the people that are pregnant because obviously pregnancy is only 9 months.
Yes.
You can't wait. So they kind of shove the gynecology part aside. So they had to wait. You had to wait 4 or 5 months for that.
You need to tip them and say, look, what will it take? I'll give you $100.
Exactly.
Do what they
But
do in
but
America.
that was actually a really good thing for us. It bought us more time, and we were like, okay, that's one thing we needed to do, which it's all the way until August. Let's just try until all that way, and if nothing happens by then nothing happens by then. But we will be getting
Get the
help.
answers you're looking for.
So what that means is, in the mindset, you just have to think there's always help one step at a time. So there's light
Yes.
at the end of the tunnel.
Yes.
And that is what made us happy because we know that we are going to get help. It's just maybe 4 or 5 months away, which is perfect. That allowed us time to be grateful and happy and more
Yes.
time to be enjoying
Breathe a little
ourselves.
bit and go,
Exactly.
okay.
And we were
Yeah.
like, every 3 months until then, let's just book a holiday like every single month. We went to the Gold Coast, we went to Melbourne, we even
Yeah, you
went to
do travel a
Japan.
lot
We travel every single month. And we were like, because we have
because you can.
because you can, like you just asked to, and then we're both earning money, income. It's just we're not rich or anything. It's just a little bit of money like that we
Well, you put it aside to, what you
for
prioritize.
exactly.
Like, look, go away, de-stress.
Yeah, exactly. It was gonna be if you have a baby, we can't travel anyway. So we look at it as if let's just enjoy what we have right now, and then whatever happens happens because we are already having a plan that we are gonna see the gynecologist to
Mm.
clear the troops, and then you assured us that we already ticked off all the boxes for physical, diet, emotional, physical, spiritual as well. We just had to do that little part, and then we'll be successful. And we had that in mind, and I think that's why we were so grateful. And I think leading up to we went to Tasmania in July, and when we came back, I think Sylvia was telling me on the plane back, she said that she was feeling just so grateful. We got to travel so much, and we were both actually being really happy. I remember during the plane ride back, it was sunny. You can see the clouds below us, but we were above the skies, and we can see the sun shining over like a sunset. And it was beautiful. And I think maybe that just showed that
There's hope.
there's hope and the spirit baby is coming. But we didn't know at the time. It was actually already here because
Yes.
2 days later, Sylvia popped into my room telling me to come out and check something for lunch.
So describe that. Yeah, we had a little,
Yeah,
we planned it all, but describe the moment you found out, that you're going to be a dad.
yeah,
What emotions, like, how did she present it? What emotions ran through you firstly?
yeah. So I was actually pretty busy that day because was talking to my director. Funnily, like I was just having catch up with my director. We usually normally have catch up every few months. But funnily enough, he was also trying for a baby. I think he was doing IVF at that time, and he was suggesting to me, a few things that he's tried that I can try as well. So I do thank him for that. But Sylvia was trying to knock in the room, trying to come out. I made you lunch. I was like, wait, I'm still in the room. Like I'm still in the meeting trying to talk to my director. And by the time I finished, she just told me to go out and presented like a plate and a bowl over. And I think she had a can of Coke or Pepsi. And I didn't think too much about it because I smelt food, which she had an hour before. I think she made some lunch for herself. So the
The food
lunch
was
was still
lingering.
lingering around. So I was like, okay, that's just lunch anyway. Because she never really makes me lunch like that. So
You're like, something's off. She never makes me lunch
something's
and brings
off,
it.
but then I do smell the lunch, so I was like, yeah, believed it anyway. Yeah, but when I opened it, I was like, oh, what's this? Like, it took like 10 to 20 seconds to realize that what I'm
Because had you
seeing.
seen, because you probably hadn't seen like a
Yes, no,
pregnancy test
we
in that way.
so leading up to that point, we've never actually tested positive for anything like that before. Yeah, so I just had to make sure this is not like a COVID test that's have a double line.
Yeah, I've got COVID.
Yeah, exactly. So then, yeah, I was just in shock, but was just so happy that it came because in my mind, I was like, we have to go and see this gynecologist, and that's booked in the week later, a few days later after that. But we were just so lucky that it happened a few days before that, and we saved all the money, effort, tears,
The
joy, whatever.
specialist
Yeah, specialists.
consult. Like, we're
Yes.
changing to a pregnancy consult now.
Yeah,
Thank
so
you.
we actually we kept her, but we changed her from a gynecologist to an OB.
To an OB. So I guess, how has this whole experience really changed your perspective on fatherhood, on family, with what you've gone through and, that journey?
How has it changed me?
Yeah, has it changed? How has that changed your perspective now, going into fatherhood, which is just around the corner now?
Yeah, so haven't. Yeah, so she's 36 weeks now, so I'm not completely uh a father
Still
of
hasn't
a
hit you yet.
born child yet, so it's still coming, but I just have to get ready to um, bear. Like, I mean, like look after a child with my wife. So it'll be a new experience, which I'm looking
Does
forward
it
to.
make it does it make you look forward to, not that there's a less looking forward to, but do you really appreciate now, how being a father is going to be, even more special now because you've gone through the journey, a longer journey than most?
Yeah, for sure. So
What are you looking forward to?
just looking forward to holding the baby.
The long awaited baby.
Exactly, but
5 years, 5 years later.
exactly, but also looking forward to her, the first crawl, the first walk, when she grows her teeth, all that little stuff. And I do know that time flies, so I do want to really appreciate the time we'll have with her before she grows up. 1 or 2 years
Yeah, they
is
grow up very
yeah,
quick.
they grow up really, really quick. We've been trying since 2020. This is 2025, so it's been 5 years. So imagine we have a child at that time already. So she'll be 5 years old. Time will grow up. Time will fly by really, really fast. I just want to enjoy the time with the baby and looking after her as well. So both our parents are pretty busy. Her mum is pretty fragile now, and my mum is kept busy with her other 12 grandchildren.
The 13th one now is on the way.
Exactly. 13th one is on the way, but every single one to my mom would be really, really special to her. But
Especially newborns, it's different with,
yeah,
having a
exactly.
brand new baby.
But also to say this, being Asian, the parents subconsciously look forward to their son having kids as well. So
Because it's your sisters that are
the
pregnant.
that 12 grandkids were all my sisters. So this is the
Right.
time that actually have my last name. So I think my mom and dad are
Yes.
pretty excited for that as well. But like I don't want them to look after us, live like half an hour away. So I am prepared to help assist Sylvia with postpartum. So I actually bought some books from Amazon, the postpartum 40-day recovery and how to cook for postpartum mums and all that. So I've been going through
Yes.
that and looking to cook some Chinese herbal remedy
Soups.
soup or whatever to nourish the
And the
body.
confinement for
Exactly,
6 weeks.
confinement. Yeah.
The Chinese confinement,
Yes. So
for sure.
we stock up the pantry with the goji berry, red dates.
All the good Chinese herbs to nourish the mother after,
Yes.
childbirth.
Yes. Looking forward to making all the ginger dishes though, because I in particular love ginger. And when I lived with my mum, she would always cook me the ginger chicken dish that I love. And when I moved with Sylvia, she hates ginger, so I never really cook that too often. But now I'm gonna cook that, and I'm gonna have to make her eat that. But I also enjoy it myself as well. So we look forward to those dishes.
What's one piece of advice you would give to couples facing infertility together?
One piece of advice to couples facing infertility is to stick up for each other, communicate, and if there's something that you're concerned about, do let the other person know and discuss about it together and have a plan, but also to see things with an open mind and try different approaches as well. Go see Ellie maybe.
That's right. Yes, it's a whole holistic approach, right? It's
Yeah,
not one thing, but definitely, yeah, we're looking
yeah,
at a whole
yeah.
holistic
So
program.
I think just want to say this quickly that we found Ellie. That was the best thing in our journey to being parenthood. So if you guys do have an opportunity to see Ellie, talk to her, even just a quick chat, you'll know how great Ellie is as a person, and she will always make you feel comfortable. She will not make you feel like you have to do anything you don't want to. And we've seen other holistic practitioners before. So I mentioned before that we saw another acupuncturist before Ellie. That was a different experience, and I don't want to go back there. But Ellie's really really good.
Thank you so much, Edwin. Look, I love the acupuncture, but I love the coaching more as you guys went through it with me, right? It's a whole holistic approach from
Exactly.
the physical, but my passion is really shifting the mindset, really balancing your emotions and giving you back that hope again, really. Really, we're kind of like a teamwork. We're looking at all the little things, checking it off and go, okay, what is it that we need to explore? Especially for people with unexplained infertility. It's such a journey together, and that's what I love so much about you and Sylvia. You're so compliant, but also it's doing this journey together, both for you both and also working with practitioners, with other sort of modalities, and it's really going through and go, okay, we've checked this, and to just go through the journey and be supportive of each other.
Yeah.
And work and be doing what you can on your part, and I'm doing what I can.
So everything works together as one, as an ecosystem. So if I have to put it to anything, it's everything together, not just one thing. The acupuncture side, it's probably like 5 to 10% only, really. But
Yeah, I
everything
agree. I
together.
love acupuncture, but yes, I think there is so much more to looking at things. Like I said, we're checking off one thing at a time,
Yeah, exactly.
and that's
Get one step at a time. Also, like everything at once
together.
rule everything out, not just one thing.
That's it. Look, I can't wait for you to be a father. You've, come on top from, through a long journey, and, you're well deserving of being able to hold your beautiful baby girl. I can't wait to meet her in person, and I wish you all the best for the birth, and you're going to be great parents, both of you.
Thanks, Lily. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for sharing your story with us, Edwin, and all the best to Sylvia in her upcoming birth.
Thank you so much.
All right.
All right.
Thank you for tuning in to the Holistic Health and Hormones podcast. If you found today's episode inspiring or informative, please don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review. It will help us reach more people just like you who are on their journey to vibrant health and balance. For more tips, resources, or to work with me, please visit my website or connect with me on socials. And remember, your health is your superpower. So keep nurturing it, and I'll see you next time.